Hello and good evening, Los Angeles, and welcome to another edition of One More Sleep, your favorite LAFC preview pod the day before the game, and we are heading down to Austin to take on FC Broccoli down in their neck of the woods for what's hopefully the final game in this best of three series. Can't say the same for San Diego. What a heartbreaker that was. 90+8, they had it, then Portland ties it, then wins it in PKs. That better not happen to us. But really, the way to truly begin this podcast is congratulations to the Los Angeles Dodgers. You know we love baseball on this podcast, and that might have been one of the best World Series we've ever seen, one of the best World Series games ever. Good times. But really quickly, introductions. I'm Christian Filliman, better known as Philly, and at some point, I'll go back to being the platinum-haired flamingo. But joining me, I've never seen him dye his hair, so he's going to continue the moniker and the mantra and the nickname of the gray-haired goose himself, J.R. Liebert, otherwise known as
The Scarf. What is good? And congratulations to all of you out there, the Dodger faithful. Michael Conforto, Philly, gets a World Series ring.
Gosh, I forgot about him.
Let's go. Well, so did the Dodgers. He wasn't on the World Series roster.
Rojas, man.
Said,
oh, my God.
What an incredible World Series. Obviously, everybody, look, we're an LAFC podcast. We know. But come on. Like, I guess Magic Johnson's part of both, right? So a lot of cross between the
Peter
clubs.
Guber, who's owner of LAFC, is obviously part of the Dodgers too, so we have that.
Yep, Peter Guber, also soccer head, sometimes turns into baseball head. In fact, he's normally baseball head who turns into soccer head. He's been doing the Dodger thing a lot longer. Angel, we love you. Hopefully you can get a ring one of these days for all the work that you put in either way. But yeah, Philly, what a weird day.
He's going to get a ring, my friend. He is. It's called tinnitus, the ringing in the ear from all the partying that I'm sure he's going to be a part of. Los Angeles is going to be celebrating tonight. Good times. Hopefully we get to celebrate tomorrow after we whoop Austin's ass.
Right outside my window, there are fireworks are legal in Lawndale for the 4th of July, which means we get fireworks year round in Lawndale. It's just kind of the gift that keeps on giving. Unbelievable. Just congrats to everybody. But what a weird day, Philly. Miami loses despite Messi scoring. San Diego loses despite Pablo Cisniega with 2 great saves in the penalty shootout, which, by the way, Pablo Cisniega played today instead of CJ Dos Santos. CJ Dos Santos got hurt. So that's big news. San Diego might have to lean on San Pablo for the rest of their postseason run. But wow, what a night in Los Angeles. And look, Philly, bottom line is it's up to LAFC to keep the good times rolling.
Oh, without a doubt. And the good times need to be rolling because Lord knows we don't. None of us want to be back at BMO. Well, maybe, obviously, we want to be back at BMO, but not to take on Austin again in a do-or-die match. I'd rather put this to bed tomorrow, put it to rest, think about what's going on the next day, and obviously, enjoy the fact that I still have some money on my credit card. That's another thing. I jokingly say this, but truthfully, I do want to be at BMO more often, but in some cases not. I love sitting in Founders Club. I do. But sometimes the cost of it, in particular in postseason and playoffs, sometimes makes me go, Anyway, but we're not there yet. So you worry about the things that you can while you can. But for now, we worry about the present. The present's good. Los Angeles as a city, as a community is celebrating. And tomorrow night we will too.
Yeah, no, look, it's going to be fun. But look, let's be honest. Last time out, it was our 2 newest contract signees, Ryan Hollingshead, Nathan Ordaz, who did the heavy lifting for LAFC. It was Ryan's own goal that he helped Austin score, Brendan Heinzeich, and Nate's late winner. Those were just what LAFC needed for their 2-1.
It's got to pay for a wedding scarf. Weddings aren't cheap in Los Angeles.
Absolutely. Look, you're absolutely right. But look, LAFC heads to Austin, where although we have a winning record, Philly, we have not won since 2023. In 2024, I was there. LAFC drew behind a late goal from Kai Kamara. Kai's not playing tomorrow. And just a couple of weeks ago, it was an Owen Wolf goal unfortunately in the scarf minute, I believe, that gave the home side a 1-0 victory. So Philly, LAFC are going to need to ride their big boys on this one.
Oh, look, if we're going to talk about history, that last game really shouldn't count because we were without our entire personnel. Yes, they beat us at home in March, but that was also with a completely different personnel. I get that we talk about history all the time because it's fun to educate everybody on this, because there's a lot of new people that have been listening to Defenders as of late, in particular with Sonny's new signing. We bring in a lot more listeners, and we certainly appreciate that. Some brand new to MLS. So we're going to want to educate them along the lines of history. And actually, speaking of history, check this out.
Uh-oh.
This thing ring a bell?
I remember that.
You do? Yeah. This is our little gift from, it might say it right there, the inaugural season 2018. And I still have everything intact, by the way. You got that street by street, block by block bit, the inaugural season pin. And this pouch has stickers in it. And believe it or not, Scarf, I still have the stickers. I have such an archive of so much LAFC stuff, speaking of history. But history is what we need to make of Austin. We need to just end their history and their playoff hopes tomorrow.
Listen, I absolutely think we will. Look, the bottom line is, folks, we played them just a couple days ago. We went through the entire roster. If you want, listen to our episode breakdown of the 2-1 victory. Go back and listen to One More Sleep for what we thought was important. But Philly and I are going to be changing things up just a little bit in terms of our players to watch, in terms of our keys to the match, based on what we saw Austin and LAFC do just a couple of days ago. And maybe our score predictions, but we'll see if those change. Philly, shall we get into it?
Yeah, let's get into it, because the Lord knows we want to celebrate, and there's fireworks going on galore. The Gremlins are terrified right now.
Yeah, I can only imagine what the Gremlins are going through right now. I'm looking straight at Timothy Tillman in this one, because I do believe Timothy Tillman is going to get the start. Now, for all of you that are wondering where Sonny is in terms of players to watch, hold on. If all of you are wondering where Denny Bawanga is in terms of players to watch, I took a page from Philly when he said duh in his last one last week. He called him Denny Duh Bawanga. I think we're all watching Denny Bawanga no matter what he does, right? And let's be real. Denny does play kind of second fiddle to Sonny in terms of eyeballs that are watching him, but he doesn't play second fiddle in the offense. We all know about Denny Bawanga, but let me tell you why I'm watching Timothy Tillman. Timothy Tillman has done a whole lot of nothing for us in the last several matches. And despite being played up top next to these incredible two that we have up top, Denny Bawanga and Sonny, we've gotten very little offensively from Timothy Tillman. And the other thing that worries me just a little bit is we're asking him to create offense with his feet. What I want to see Timothy Tillman do is create offense with his passing. I don't want Timothy Tillman to have to be the end of the product. I want Timothy Tillman to be the one that kind of starts or is in the middle of that final product. And I'm sorry, I haven't seen enough from Timothy Tillman over these last several matches. Maybe Andy Morin gets a start, or maybe we have to look at someone a little bit more offensive. Maybe David Martinez or Nathan Ordaz have to kind of slide into that role that we're giving Timothy Tillman. But it has been a long time since Timothy Tillman has impacted the game offensively. I want to see him do it more with his passing in this one, but that's why I'm looking at Timothy Tillman. And I'm looking at you with a little bit of a side eye, Ilie Sanchez. Maybe we start a guy like Kenny Nielsen, and Kenny Nielsen just comes in and sets the tone on Ilie Sanchez a little bit. Someone has got to give Ilie a little talking to, maybe even a little body check or something coming across the middle. I went back and rewatched several of those collisions and altercations between he and Sonny, and you better believe a bunch of that was intentional. My man, Ilie, and Philly, you and I love Ilie Sanchez on this podcast. In fact, in that 2024 match that I was in Austin for, when Ilie played for us, Ilie and I got to talking for a little bit. He, and Philly is going to love this, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. You know this about Ilie Sanchez. But someone has got to step up and defend Sonny. It shouldn't be Sonny. It shouldn't be Denis. But come on. Someone's got to step up, take a hard foul, maybe even take a professional yellow card, and clean out Ilie at least once to let him know that he's not going to be able to set the tone for Austin in this match. Fair
enough. So I'm gonna look at your Timothy Tillman, and if we're talking like to like. Timothy Tillman is basically Scarf's equivalent of what Miguel Rojas was tonight for the Dodgers. Do very much to do something big, not part of the equation, not part of too much in terms of the offensive load, but okay, maybe he goes out there and scores. I like that. Timothy Tillman is Scarf's Miguel Rojas. And as far as Ilie Sanchez is concerned, I've seen a lot of stuff going on social media. Nico Estevez said in a press conference that they were going to be a lot more physical. And of course, the captain sets the tone. There are people saying, oh, Ilie, you're dead to me. Hold on. That doesn't change what he's done for LAFC. The body check on Sonny doesn't negate the fact that he scored the game-winning goal against the Philadelphia Union in 2022. Yes, he body checked him twice, but you separate that Ilie from our actual Ilie. When he came back the first time around, he was respectful. What do you want the guy to do? It's do or die scenario. You got to set the tone. The captain's going to set the tone. Did I like it? No. Did I think it was ridiculous? No. But does that change my opinion on him? Not whatsoever, because to your point, Scarf, he is one of the nicest guys, and we're still going to give him a round of applause when his career is done and he comes back to LA, because he scored one of the most important goals in our club's history. He clinched it for us. Hammer to the nail, sealed Andre Blake's fate and the Philadelphia Union. Now that that's done, we move on to my players to watch. And
we still need to clean out Ilie. Clean him out.
Fair enough. It's an ugly thing, but this is where we turn it around. Because of that ugliness by Ilie Sanchez, that's why I chose Sonny as my player to watch. Now that he knows that they're going to be a lot more physical with him, now that he knows they're going to try to get under his skin, he's going to retaliate in the classiest way possible by scoring against Austin on the road. I'm glad Ilie bodied Sonny off. Now he has a bit of a chip on his shoulder. He had a really good look on goal the other night, but in this case, on this very next day, Sonny is going to score. He's due. All eyes are going to be on him. This is a big one. I can picture it right now. He scores, jogs right by Ilie, just smiles at him, moves on. Game clinched. Done. And as far as my player to watch for Austin, Gallagher is the one who scored the goal, but Owen Wolff, I think, was the one who played the best. His passing efficiency was excellent. He's done a lot of great things. Shockingly enough, he didn't have any shots on target or any shots on goal. But Owen Wolff, the youngin, I feel, is going to rise to the occasion and really do things for Austin. I mean, he's good at setting set pieces. We saw how he ended up contributing to LAFC's defeat on the road. I think the kid's really good and barely can go to the bar and pay for a drink legally. I think the kid's very talented, and I think he's going to be a menace in the game. And there we go.
Owen Wolff, their best player for sure. Number 4 on the 22 under 22 list for 2025. He's fantastic. So yeah, would have been my player to watch, but you sent me your slides and I decided not to do that. So there you go. Look, I've already said it a couple times here on this little episode here of One More Sleep. Set the tone. Set the tone by doing a couple of things. Number one, don't lead with your physicality. Actually, lead with goal scoring. Set the tone by scoring early. What we saw from Austin, though, is that even when we score early, they're not going to get out of their bunker, of their shell, of their low block. So what did Steve Cherundolo say when he was asked about it in the press conference? Then we have to press even harder. We can't give Austin over 50% of possession in this one. We need to keep hammering the nail. We need to keep the pressure on. And in that low block, eventually, we need them to crack because we've scored 2 or 3 or 4 goals out of that. And then, oh, by the way, at about the 60 or 65 minute mark, after we are up 2 or 3-0, then somebody needs to come across the middle and set the tone with our physicality in a way that, sure, maybe earns us a yellow card. Can't be you, Sergi Palencia, because then you're suspended for the next game. But anybody else is fair game in this one. Go ahead and protect our boys, especially if they continue that stuff again in this second game. And I'm looking right at Timothy Tillman, right at Matthew Chonier, right at Marky Delgado, right at Andy Morin, whoever we've got in the midfield, maybe even a Ryan Hollingshead or a Sergi Palencia or an Artem Smolyakov. Feed the big dogs. That's right. Let the guys get into space without having to create their own shot. Let's get them a pass where they're in a little bit of space. So maybe they're 1v1 or sometimes even 1v2, and they're able to figure it out themselves. Because when they have to create from 30, 35 yards out, that's when we are far less potent against that low block. But if we can make that pass into the low block and get a 1v1 effort from either Sonny or Denis, it is all over but the crying in Austin.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're pretty much in agreement as far as our tactics. They're very similar. I mean, for me, it's kill them on the counter. We got to control those transitionary moments. In the head-to-head most recent matches, look, Austin, like you said, they've been compact defensively and then patiently waiting to pick us up. I mean, they beat us in March 1-0 despite the fact that we dominated possession. So winning the early psychological battle by scoring on the road first would probably be the best way to go. Don't allow them to get comfortable in any of their space or dictate when they press. They have to come at us at the end of the day. I don't think they're just going to sit back and wait. So that being the case, yeah, high press the hell out of them. Use the front three, whatever attack you want to throw on there. Force them into making their mistakes. When they're playing from the back, force them wide. Win the territory and and attack quickly before they're ready to get set. I mean, to me, it's just a matter of setting the tone early. Like you said, it's a matter of picking them off when they're trying to attack. They're going to try to control some form of possession. They're going to come at us at some point. We just need to pick them apart and score that first goal. If we find ourselves in a position where we might be down, well, then that's a different animal because you got the crowd to contend with. Then you know they're going to completely park the bus. All they need is the one. And they'll settle in and do anything they can to keep us from finding any kind of seams on the outside or the inside. So to me, it's about picking them off in transition, scoring first, getting the psychological advantage, and then from there, forcing them to bring the game to us. Then we pick them off in transition again.
Yeah, look, I love it. Let's kill them on the counter, however we can. Let's do it. In fact, I'm going with my original score prediction from last match. I'm keeping it 3-1 because I think what LAFC learned in their 2-1 victory is that they don't need Austin to come out of their shell. They don't need Austin to come out of their low block. And they did so, the 2-1 victory, with Ryan Hollingshead getting a little bit of help and Nathan Ordaz coming in and finishing off what would have been a goal anyway by Denis Bouanga. So you're telling me that we were able to score 2 goals while Austin stayed in their low block, give Steve Cherundolo almost a week to tinker in the lab and to get some things right. Sonny didn't score. Denis didn't score. And now we get to go have a second crack at them. I can't wait. I've seen the lineup for Austin FC. I've seen their roster. Owen Wolf is a scary individual. But after that, look, if we let Mirto Uzuni beat us, if we let any of those other guys on the front line beat us, that's on us as a club. And I think we've been playing much better defensively that is not going to happen. In fact, I'm more confident in the 3 for LAFC than I am in the 1 for Austin for sure. And I think it is going to be an easier win than I think a lot of people are expecting. That's right. I'm saying it right now. Smirty has us going to penalties. It's going to be, I think LAFC is going to come out and absolutely rock and roll on this one. Early in the first half, going to be up 2-0. Then maybe Austin decides you got to open it up a little bit. LAFC is going to get yet another, like Philly said, on the counter, and maybe a late one for Austin as they send their fans home unhappy.
Everything you say, I don't need to repeat because that's pretty much where I'm going, except I negate one of those goals. We score the first 2 by doing exactly what I just said. Then, we allow a cheap one because ultimately I just think that's what's going to happen. We find ourselves in plenty of positions where we end up beating ourselves. I mean, by we, I mean LAFC. I mean, the goals that Austin has scored and some of the goals that we've conceded aren't because the opposition has done anything magnificent and created these chances for themselves. They've done this because we've messed up. We've been lazy at marking somebody. We get caught ball watching. It's not anything ever. I don't want to say ever. That's a generalization, and those are always BS. But we typically concede because of a mistake that we've made, not because the other team creates something exceptional. So to me, 2-1 is a fair scoring line. I do think we walk out of there. I hope we walk out of there with the dub on to the next round, and we all get to save a couple of dollars.
Listen, I love it. Bottom line is, let's save the money. As much as Steve Cherundolo said it, right? He said, look, I'm a defender. I love to go into somebody else's building, quiet down the crowd, take the dub, and get home with a win. Absolutely. I would love that. And look, if we have to go back to BMO, we have to go back to BMO. They're actually doing a pretty cool event. I think they're going to have an ofrenda for Dia de los Muertos at BMO Stadium tomorrow. So that'll be a really cool event. But look, bottom line is this. LAFC needs to take care of business on the road. And if we are going to win MLS Cup this year, it's going to be a series of times where LAFC needs to take care of their business on the road. So why not start tomorrow in Austin? If we are going to win against San Diego and Vancouver and Miami or Philadelphia or Cincinnati, whoever it might be coming out of the East, we're going to have to do all of those on the road. So Philly, let's set the tone in Austin. What do you say?
You know what's some good news, Scarf? We were actually pretty darn good on the road this season. Obviously from April onward. So I'm feeling pretty good about taking care of business on the road. So let's take care of Austin. If we do, I'm going to have a nice head of broccoli and a butcher's knife. And on the next recap, I am going to cut the head off of the broccoli or a picture of Matthew McConaughey, whichever. No, I'm not going to do that. It's going to be the broccoli. And that's how we're going to end it. After that, I'm going to put it on the little grill. I'm going to put some seasoning on it. I am going to eat broccoli happily tomorrow.
I got a question for you, Philly.
Yes.
We got the Smurda family bringing this up here in the chat. So I'm going to ask you, if we're about to go into PKs, do we sub in Hassal?
No.
The Wall?
No. Now, look. He had, from our perspective, Hassal is very successful when it comes to stopping penalty kicks. Hugo Lloris hasn't been tested as much, and when he hasn't really made that. I'd have to go back and double check in his 2 years, but I don't think his percentage of stopping penalty kicks has been very good. But do we really sub off a keeper of his talent? I don't think so. Not for Thomas Hassal. No. Okay, 8% save rate. Thank you, Smirty. I appreciate that. I don't sub off Hugo Lloris for Thomas Hassal. I don't.
All right. Well, you heard it from Philly. He says no. What the hell? I say yes. Why not? Get Hassal in there to take some PKs. Why not? That'll be fun. I just got a text, Philly, that Miguel Rojas is giving Shohei Ohtani shots of Clase Azul. Let's all go watch the Dodgers celebration on television. Oh, what a night here in Los Angeles. Philly's got 2-1. I've got 3-1. Smirty has, 1,000 penalty shots happening by Thomas Hassal, hopefully saving one of them. We'll see. But Philly, it's going to be a lot of fun. And Philly's got one more thing.
Yeah, look, Dodger fans, we're Met fans, but where because of the reason where the Mets came from. So this one's for you. If you're watching, obviously you see I got a Brooklyn Dodger hat on. For those listening, I got a Brooklyn Dodger hat on. I think that's fair. So I'm here to celebrate with y'all. I love LA. I'm a Met fan. Brooklyn Dodger hat. That's fair. Ties to the Mets. God bless the city of Los Angeles. I effing love this town.
Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.